Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I've got a flight on an Air France A350 to Paris and you're coming along with me. I'm starting my journey here in Atlanta and there's no better way to start the trip than beginning it at the Renaissance Hotel just north of the runways here at Atlanta. What a fantastic place. I've got a balcony room overlooking the runways. I love it here. This hotel is a complete thrill. If you watch my channel often, you know that I'm all about the best views. I recently stayed at the TWA Hotel at Kennedy Airport, but the breadth of the view here in Atlanta is even more vast. Look at how close we are to the ramp and the northern set of runways. If you stay here, ensure you have a room facing south since the hotel is on the northern part of the airport. And the rooms on this side have balconies. It's a really immersive experience and a perfect way to orient yourself before your flight. I flew into Atlanta the day before my Air France flight, and staying elsewhere just wasn't an option. Today, the airport is in an eastern flow with the inboard runway being used for departures and the outboard runway being used for arrivals. I love the close-up view of this special breast cancer paint scheme Delta 767, and just beyond it are the terminals. And close to the terminals is another special paint scheme aircraft, a Delta 737 in Sky Team colors. Today my flight will be departing from the F gates, which is right over there. But before leaving for the airport to board my very new A350, I took some time to marvel at the vast age range of aircraft here at ATL. Behind me is November 319 US, a Delta Airlines Airbus coming in from Oklahoma City. Have you seen my video where I fly on November 320 US? That aircraft, as well as this one here, was built in 1991. Don't forget to check out that video. Today, my flight is going to be operating on a brand new aircraft that was actually built this year. Speaking of old, from up here at this hotel, you can see some old airplanes parked permanently at the Delta Flight Museum right next to the Renaissance. But of all the old and new airplanes I'm able to see from up here, I'm especially excited for the arrival of what's going to bring me across the Atlantic Ocean this evening, the Air France A350-900. I've been out here since this morning, and I'm telling you, I could spend the whole day here. But I do have to work my way down to the lobby to catch a ride to the International Airline Terminal at the airport. The interior of this hotel is almost as impressive as the exterior views that it provides. It is a massive and open space with guest rooms on the sides. And the hotel is not bashful to remind you that ATL is a Delta hub. I'm not flying on Delta today, but I am really loving the Delta imagery featured right in this hotel. My flight today, however, is on a Delta partner, Air France, part of the Sky Team. If you're an aviation enthusiast, this is the hotel to stay at in Atlanta. As I work my way outside, I could not help but see airplanes parked across the street, so I worked my way over to that area before my vehicle arrived. Well, this is just amazing. I'm walking outside the hotel and directly across the street are two parked A330s. That is close. Loving this place. And right over there is a Delta A350. I'll be on one later today in Air France colors. So come with me to the Maynard Jackson International Terminal here at the Atlanta Airport to the check-in area for Air France. All right, I've arrived at the terminal. I'm going to go to the check-in area here at the International Terminal in Atlanta. This terminal is beautiful and serves as the check-in area for international carriers as well as Delta. I made my way over to the Sky Priority check-in area for Air France, which was staffed by Delta employees. Then it was off to TSA. Okay, I'm done with TSA and the F gates here at Atlanta. Love this terminal. I'm really getting that international feeling here as I walk among the duty-free shops today, but I'll be spending my pre-departure time at the Delta Sky Club. Air France doesn't have a lounge here, so Delta, part of SkyTeam, serves Air France passengers. My access today is granted with my Delta Diamond Status choice benefit of Sky Club membership. This Sky Club is my favorite of all the Sky Clubs in Atlanta because it has an outdoor deck overlooking the ramp. That's not the aircraft I'll be taking to Paris tonight, but you can't resist when there's an outdoor deck at an airport. You just have to go. After the Sky Club, I started to work my way to the departure gate to finally meet my A350. The excitement's building. All right, there she is behind me, the Air France A350. Who else thinks that airports should lower their lights so you can actually see the airplane out the window? There's just too much reflection on the windows today. It was a struggle to film through the window, and I had to find ways to block the light reflection with my hand. The struggles of airport lighting. I was the only person there trying to look out. With the difficulties looking outside, I queued up quickly for boarding Air France Flight 689 to Charles de Gaulle. All right, Paris, here we come. Welcome aboard. Today, I'm flying in the rear economy section. As an early boarder, I was first in this section. It's like I got the whole plane to myself. Other passengers eventually did board, but the load factor was very low this evening. 34A is my seat tonight, and I'm pleased with the large IFE screen in front of me. Other than looking out the large A350 window, I'll be taking advantage of exterior cameras that are displayed on the IFE screens. One camera is mounted above the tail, and the other is below the fuselage. Why can't all airlines do this? My space is comfortable with air ducts and a cup holder in front of me. I'm satisfied with my window, my seat, and the cameras. That's all I need tonight. The cabin, with its subtle blue lighting, filled up quickly, and before I knew it, we were ready to start moving away from the gate. We're now pushing back under the control of the ramp controller, who is working the F gates this evening. This is a large airplane, so wing walkers and the tow driver need to place utmost attention to the journey backwards. As we pushed back, the flight attendants started the Air France safety video, which was fresh and exciting and captured my attention. Of course, during this period, I was unable to watch the exterior cameras on the screen as the safety video overrides everything else that can be played by the passengers. Today we'll be departing from runway 9 left, one of 5 parallel runways here in Atlanta, and the closest runway to our gate for the direction of takeoff that we'll need today, east, is 9 left. With the combination of 2 cameras and a window, I did not know where to look. I had so many options, and my head was constantly turning between the window view out the left side of the plane and the cameras as ground control instructed us to take a parallel taxiway to the runway this evening. Traffic was really light, and we were eventually handed off to the local control tower frequency for clearance to line up and wait on runway 9 left. For the takeoff, I'm going to provide you with 2 views, a first on my channel. I use 2 cameras simultaneously during the takeoff roll, one for filming out the window and one for filming the screen in front of me while showing the tail cam. And as for my eyes, I really didn't know what to look at, so I just looked at both. This is going to be an exciting takeoff. One item of note is that the pilot didn't make the announcement for the flight attendants to prepare for takeoff until we were already in position and about to begin the takeoff roll. Well, I guess that's what the announcement was since it was in French, a language I don't speak. Alright, let's start our roll. Runway 9 left is 12,390 feet long, Atlanta's longest runway, but we're not using all of it today. We entered the runway from an intersecting taxiway. Our A350-900's engines are sending us down the runway with lots of power. This airplane has two Rolls-Royce Trent XWB-84 engines. They are the most powerful among the Trent family of engines, and the takeoff roll is rather quiet, making it for a very enjoyable ride. This is a really great airplane to fly in, and I really like the extra-large windows to help get the most out of the view. I've flown on the A350 once before on Delta, so I knew the exterior visibility would be good. Notice how I'm sitting on the left side of the aircraft tonight. If you watch my channel often, you know how my seats are strategically chosen. This channel doesn't place too much emphasis on luxury, but rather how to experience the joy of flight and get the most out of it. Today, I'm flying in economy, and I'm more excited about our routing than anything else. Our flight plan today calls for us to fly runway heading for a bit, then turn left towards the northeast. As many of you know, I have many videos on this channel that feature landing or departing in the New York City area airports, so my goal was to be able to see New York City from this flight from Atlanta to Paris. Our eventual northeast heading will have us pass south of New York City over the Atlantic Ocean, which means that New York City will be on the left side of the plane. And that's it. That's how I chose my seat. Well, there's a little more. I had to determine which row to pick other than just picking an A seat. Rows 1 through 9 are ideal since they're in front of the wing, but they're for business class seats, and I've purchased an economy seat. Rows 10 through 12 belong to premium economy. Again, my ticket doesn't have me in that cabin. Economy starts at row 16, but that's just about the point where the wing starts, and that could obstruct the view. So I chose a seat well behind the wing that would allow me to get some great wing action views, but also allow me to see down. Another reason for picking a seat so far back tonight is that this flight has a light load, and I suspected that there would be less passengers in the back. I was right. As we fly through the low cloud layer, we continue out to the east. Besides looking at the aircraft's cameras and looking out the windows, I also look at the flight track map. Within a few minutes, we're headed northeast to bring us towards the beginning of our North Atlantic crossing. After reaching cruising altitude, cabin service began, and I was offered freshness towels and a sanitizing kit. Very nice touches to start the service before dinner was served as we paralleled the eastern seaboard. Interior cabin lighting switched to an orange-red as my economy class meal of pasta and potato salad was served. Once over New Jersey, we began to fly over the Atlantic Ocean, and I knew I'd see New York City on the left side, but boy, was it difficult to film. With cabin service still occurring, the interior lights were still on, making it really hard to focus on and zoom in to New York City. It was a bit disappointing, I have to say. In any case, it's a long flight, so I made the quick trip to the lavatory, and since I had the entire row to myself, I stretched out and went to sleep for the entire crossing of the North Atlantic. See you tomorrow in Europe. Alas, it is daylight, and I can finally see the wing with the sun illuminating it. We've come a long way, and I've managed to keep my eyes closed and enter a state of slumber for several hours, thanks to having the whole road to myself. It's a needed sleep as I need to get used to the European time zone I'll be entering, which is 6 hours ahead of Eastern Standard Time in the USA. We've crossed the northern part of the world's second largest ocean, and it was a smooth ride across. After following one of the North Atlantic tracks for the evening, we're now south of Ireland, but there's no land in sight yet, so I explored some more of the views that the Air France IFE has to offer. Some of the flight tracking views, in my opinion, were just too much. I only needed a map and the cameras to be satisfied. As we approached the area south of England, flight attendants brightened the cabin lights for breakfast service, so at this point, I made a quick refreshing trip to the lavatory before the aisles became blocked with the food carts. Breakfast was pre-packaged, quick and satisfying in the economy cabin this morning. I ate it all. After breakfast, I finally made my first visual contact with land as we passed by Flamanville in northwestern France. We flew over this peninsula of land for a short period before flying over water again. Up next is Le Havre in Normandy. What a great view from up here. This city is located near the River Seine's estuary. This is a port city, and the city's name in English is actually the port. From here, we'll be paralleling the Seine all the way to the most famous city that it passes through, Paris. As we continue along the meandering Seine, we pass by Rouen. This was one of the largest and prosperous cities of medieval Europe. Today, over 700,000 people live in the vicinity. We're now descending towards Paris. We don't head directly towards our destination airport of Charles de Gaulle. Instead, we head to a point north of the airport. We'll be landing in the opposite direction that we're flying in now on runway 26 left. So in order to get there, we'll pass north of the city of Paris and the Charles de Gaulle airport on a downwind leg. Then we'll turn a right base leg, then another right turn to land back to the west on runway 26 left, the southernmost runway, which is one of 4 parallel runways in the largest airport in France. From here on, it's only going to be right-hand turns. We need to land to the west because the wind is coming from the west today. If the wind had been coming from the east, we would have flown straight in. Although the weather conditions were not perfect, ideally for an approach to Paris, I would have selected a seat on the right-hand side of the airplane. If we were to land to the west or the east, the better view of Paris itself is on the right side of the plane. And for this approach, where we fly past the airport and back around, we'd also get to see the airport before we land, but I was really focused on that New York City view for this flight, so I chose my seat on the left side of the plane. We're about to turn our base leg to the final approach course as the Paris radar controller sequences us in between all of the other arrivals. All of our turns were wide, and being on this A350 while descending felt like I was just gliding through the sky. Once fully established on the final approach course, we change frequencies to the local control tower for clearance to land, and our gear is lowered. Knowing that the gear comes down before touchdown, I ensured that I tuned my IFE screen to the body camera view so that I could see the nose gear come down and lock into position. Again, why can't all airlines have these cameras? We are fully configured for landing on runway 26 left, which is directly in front of us with its 8,800 feet of pavement. What better way to fly an approach as a passenger than to look out the window and view the forward cam at the same time? Let's land. After landing, we followed the complex taxiway system to the ramp under the control of ground control. Well, this includes my Air France journey from Atlanta to Paris. I hope you enjoyed coming along with me on the hop across the pond. It was a really pleasant journey for me. If you're not a subscriber to my channel, I invite you to click on the subscribe button so you don't miss out on my next video. My journey to France doesn't end here at Charles de Gaulle. I've got a connecting flight to take, so make sure you hit the bell button so that you get an alert when the video comes out for my departure out of CDG. I can't wait to share that with you too. Happy flying and Happy New Year to you all.